Now, I do know that reports came out, I believe it was John Heyman that said it, that whoever does bring in Kyle Tucker is not expected to extend him. So it is looking also like it's a 1-year move for Kyle Tucker, which we've seen in the past. Mookie Betts, Juan Soto, names that have been that 1 year and then they hit the free agency market and they move on. So that's the other reality, is how much are you realistically willing to spend for Kyle Tucker, knowing you may only get Kyle Tucker for 1 year and not be able to afford him? Would the Phillies be open to paying $350, $400 million for Kyle Tucker in 2026? I don't think so.
That's the
bigger issue, I think. Beyond, it's like, who would you realistically trade, but how would the Phillies actually be able to retain him after 2026?
Sure, that's the better piece of the conversation. When John Heyman says the extension's not happening, it doesn't mean that like Kyle Tucker's just going to say, bleep you, I'm not signing wherever I get traded to. What that means is you saw the formula work for Juan. Now, listen, Juan Soto turned down $450 million, bet on himself, and won, and made an extra $300+ million. I'm not saying Kyle Tucker's going to get $765 million.
No, but he's going to get paid.
But the formula is, if I sign the extension now and you give me X amount of dollars, or how about I come play in Philly or Chicago or wherever the case may be, I go play for a season, I ball out, I make an all-star team, I make I get MVP type votes, whatever the case may be, and I earn myself an extra $100 million.
Exactly.
That's the strategy. And I think that's what John Heyman's referring to, is there's no rush for Kyle Tucker to sign an extension. Now, he is coming off the weird injury, the leg, shin, whatever the heck it was, injury, that maybe there's a slight momentary pause to say maybe I should sign the extension if this injury is problematic. If it's not, if he's full tilt, he's ready to go, there's absolutely no reason for Kyle Tucker not to bet on himself, under the expectation of this guy hit, 26 home runs in 280 at-bats last year? 23 home runs in 280 at-bats last year. If he gets 600 at-bats, 650 at-bats, he theoretically should be a 35 to 40 home run guy. He hit 270-something last year. His OBP is good. His whiff rates are good. His chase rates are good. All of those baseball savant metrics we talked about yesterday, they're all in the red for a reason. He's a darn good baseball player. So I would imagine that the deal would be, or that the conversation piece would be, I'm betting on myself.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because for Kyle Tucker, again, just 28 years old, in January he turns 28, coming off of a season where he had a broken shin in 2024 and still finished with 289, 408, 585 splits. As you mentioned, 23 home runs, 11 steals in only 78 games. He had more walks at 56 than strikeouts, and he missed substantial time but still finished with a 4.7 WAR for the fourth straight season. At least a 4.7 WAR for the fourth straight season. Kyle Tucker absolutely can take advantage of 2025 being that get-back year, increase his stock value. As you mentioned, the model has been shown that players can take advantage of 1 year left on your contract, go to one market where you can now be healthy, have a strong season, and then expect to get paid the following year. So there's multiple variables, because the Astros are obviously looking for a haul return. They are looking for a corner infielder, especially knowing they probably can't retain Alex Bregman. They are also looking for major league ready players. They're also looking for a potentially either pitcher or an outfielder. They've got a lot they're wanting. And then they know, because of how much Kyle Tucker is going to cost in 2026, the reason why they want to trade him now is to get a lot in return for him. So you're going to give up a lot to trade for him now. And I know in the chat it was brought up about like JT and Kyle Schwarber. So you have to give up a lot to trade for him now and be planning to give up a lot to keep him in 2026. To me, I don't think it makes sense on any of those levels. If one of the two were correct, so if he could be someone that you trade for him this season, he's got a few years left on his deal, and you can retain him for a couple of years, okay, maybe. But the 1 year and then $350 to $400 million price point makes Kyle Tucker someone that's as tremendously talented as he is. I don't think it's realistic for the Phillies, just knowing how Dave Dombrowski and the Phillies operate.